Hi, everyone. Yes. Hello. Nice to see you all. Welcome to your Industry Week talk with Chris Macchi today, who's come from YouTube to speak to you. He's going to be talking all about his career and his life, I guess. We're going to go deep. Yeah, no pressure. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
So, you're currently a strategic. I have to read this. I'm going to get it wrong, and you'll get offended.
No pressure.
A strategic partner manager at YouTube. Can you tell us what that means and what your day-to-day looks like, if there is a day-to-day routine?
Yes, the day-to-day is very different depending on the day. First off, thank you all for being here. Those tuning in online, hello, we see you. We love you guys.
Hi everyone online. All those who are stuck in the snow.
Yeah, it's insane. So I was not expecting the snow, but thank you for making it here and watching. Hopefully I don't bore you to death. My name is Chris Macchi. I live in London. I'm an American. We'll probably get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to be here, and I'm super excited to kind of share a little bit of my journey and hopefully some insight about my career and the work that I get to do. So, Strategic Partner Manager, SPM, at YouTube. What does that mean? I'm the lucky one that gets to, so first off, I sit on our top creators team. So I'm the lucky one that gets to work with our top creators in gaming and sports primarily, those two verticals in the UK. So that day-to-day looks very different depending on the day. So yesterday we had a big event around the Women's World Cup, which is an event happening this summer that we're super excited by. So we had some footballers coming down, we had some brands, so there's a lot of kind of like brand work and connecting, whether it's athletes or creators or public figures, whatever, trying to drive energy on the platform. So sometimes my job is very sales, brand, like branded content focused, advertiser focused, but I think the core, the heart of what I do is working with creators, helping them get the most out of the platform, helping them build their businesses to the best of my ability. I think the bigger remit is if I'm the lucky one that gets to work at YouTube, and Google and be their kind of support system, what am I doing to unlock opportunities, not only just at YouTube for them, but also across Google to try to get energy behind their businesses and behind their channels and their audience. So
Great.
I don't know if that's an answer, but that's what I try to do. It's different every day.
No, I think that's a good answer. And I think a lot of my students probably some of you want to work for places like YouTube, so it's good to hear different roles that you can have there. It's quite, I don't think you were expecting that when you were younger. So you told us you did was it science degrees? And how did you, what did you want to do when you were younger and how did you get to where you are?
Yeah, really good question. So I think if there's one thing to take away, it's that we can't predict the future. My job didn't exist probably 10 years ago. I have a biology degree. I grew up wanting to be a cardiologist, a doctor, a heart doctor. Realized after finishing uni, literally the day after graduating, I kind of woke up and was like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. I can't go to medical school. I'm not smart enough for sure. And I'll never get in. So what am I going to do now? I've spent my entire life thinking about I just want to be a heart doctor because that's a nice thing to say. And it's,
Didn't you want to do that because of something that happened to you as well?
Yeah. So I was born with a small heart defect. Thankfully, it never affected my ability to go play sport or anything. I always played soccer or football growing up. So I got lucky, but it also meant that every year I would go see cardiologists. So from an early age up until probably 16, every year I was seeing these people that, to me, it was just magic. They were just basically scientists who got to heal hearts and stuff. Sure. And to me, that was so cool. But also growing up, so there were things that I loved, definitely. And that was sport or soccer or football.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call it football here on out. Please just deal
That's
with
a
it.
good thing.
So loving football. And then once I started to get into kind of high school, this idea of video on the internet started to become a thing, which I don't think anyone would have predicted us to get to where we are now. But there were early days where Google video was a thing that came kind of as YouTube was starting as well, where I was confident that I could say that I'd seen every football video on the internet, which is insane to say now, but there was a point in time where there were only a handful of videos on the internet.
And you were obsessed with them.
Yeah, that's kind of where I started. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so what a difference from your education to where you are now. And I'm sure that's a good message for everyone in here right now. I think when I was at uni, I thought I was going to be a film producer, and now I'm a teacher. So yeah, it's not always, you don't always have to stick in the same path. So yeah, what did you take from those subjects? So you obviously did, was it biology you did?
Yeah, biology and Spanish were my two.
So so obviously that's really different to YouTube. So what did you get from those? Obviously you got experiences when you were there. What were your favorite parts of doing those subjects?
Oh, man. Well, first off, I'll get the Spanish bit out of the way. I absolutely loved Spanish. I still love Spanish. I'm not very good at it anymore. But I think that at least taught me to communicate, taught me to think. I think just thinking in a different language, whether it's computer science or an actual foreign language, I think that teaches you how to formulate a story and kind of you very quickly learn what you can and cannot say in a certain language. So you start to think really specifically about how you want to communicate ideas or think about stories. So I think from Spanish, of course, I was lucky to kind of learn how to communicate a little bit, but I think that also taught my brain to think how other people are receiving a message that I'm trying to convey. So I think that was an important kind of component to maybe to where I am now. And then biology, God, I don't know. Like the way I think that taught me like hard work or perseverance more than anything, because there's no chance I would still want to be in that space.
Did it just put you off? You're like, no science.
Well, the weird thing is like I loved it then, but like as soon as I like literally that next morning where I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to do this anymore. That was it was the greatest feeling ever. But yeah, I never would have been able to predict that a career in sport or on YouTube would have been a thing. You just kind of have to continue to find those passions.
Did you feel like you had to go down the traditional route because there weren't other options available at the time?
Yeah, definitely. I think like my dream job, aside from cardiology, I guess, would have been to be a pro footballer. And like for sure, I was not good enough from a very early age, and then pretty consistently not good enough for the rest of my life to do that. So like so now I'm 33. I graduated high school, which is I think basically college here.
Yeah, college.
In 2008, and like that's not really that long ago, but even at that time, like Major League Soccer was still, that's like the Premier League in America, that was still kind of growing. And even then, I was not conscious that people could like work in marketing or work in video or have like a creative job related to that. Like didn't exist still, which is insane to think. But it just meant that I wasn't really considering that would be a thing.
I think generational as well. Like my parents still wonder what I do. You know, they know I'm a teacher, but like, what, content creation?
I mean, if I were in you guys' shoes, I would die to be here with you as a classmate.
Totally.
I think it seems like such an amazing place to learn and cultivate creativity. Whether you want to be a creator or producer or work in the industry through a different route, I think this is where to be.
Yeah, good. So YouTube has just celebrated its 18th birthday. What do you remember about your earliest interactions? So you said you obviously watched every football game in the world. What else do you remember YouTube for?
That's a great question. I mean, a lot of my work now, and I'm sure we'll talk to this, is working with specific creators. So I'm trying to think of like who my early favorites would have been. At this point, we're a couple generations into like social media, I guess, as a career. Like for sure, a favorite of mine is Casey Neistat, but I feel like even he's not really an OG.
Is he the skateboarder in New York?
Yes, he is. I think he taught me a lot about how to structure a story and think about kind of shot composition and story.
Yeah, it's all
and
beautiful, isn't it? Stuff he does. Yeah.
So he's kind of a masterful pacing storyteller, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Those early days, I think like more than anything, just people. It's funny that it never really made me want to create content, which is weird. I was just always kind of consuming. But I guess there's space for that too.
Sure. So one of the earlier video hosting platforms was Vine. Does anyone in here know what Vine is? Yeah, I just feel old sometimes, guys, and I'm like, do they know what I know? I'm like nearly 40. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Vine was where you could film 60 seconds. 60? No, 6. That's why it's confusing, because how can you get a story in 6 seconds? You did. No idea. And we're going to show it.
I did, yes.
I'm just going to go straight into the clip.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, clip 1, please, guys, for Vine.
I'm Chris. I like soccer, love Kick TV, I can write, and this is my puppy Bear.
And that was 6 seconds.
So cringy. It's so bad.
So that video there, that Vine, changed your life.
It did change my life.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Why did you do this one, and what happened after?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say this is my finest piece of work, but maybe the life lesson is you can never predict what's going to resonate. So this was basically that time where I just graduated uni and didn't know what I was going to do. Had no plan, knew that I wasn't going to go to medical school, but really just like didn't know what was going to come next. There was a YouTube channel that started up. This is 2012, 2013, so about 10 years ago. There's a YouTube channel that started up in America that was funded by Major League Soccer, but it was more about global football through an American voice. So if you're a football fan here, you might know about a channel called Copa 90. This was Kick TV, which is basically the American version of that. And they had tweeted out that they're based in New York City. I was living in Philadelphia, which is 2 hours away. They had tweeted out at one point that they were at a bar or a pub and were kind of wishing their intern well, thank you, Rachel, you've done great, like moving on to your full-time job kind of thing. And I just tweeted back, like, let me know if you need someone to pick up from where she's left off. And for me, that was just like, that was a shot into the darkness. I never actually thought that they would see it or get back to me or anything like that. And their response was, send us a Vine as to why you should be our next intern.
I love that.
I'm like, okay, fine. Again, thinking that no one was gonna see that ever again, or that it certainly wouldn't change my life. Maybe I would have done a little bit more with it if I thought,
did enough.
that my career was going to rely on it. So I made that video and never heard back for actually
you didn't
months.
hear back?
Yeah, I didn't hear back for months, and then randomly got an email saying, "Hey, you're the Vine guy." And I tried to search back and find it. I'm sure it's still out there. But yeah, randomly got an email saying, "Hey, if you're the Vine guy, we'd love to chat. We're looking to fill that internship slot," and I got lucky to get my foot in the door.
Not that lucky though, is it? You made that video.
It's incredibly lucky.
Yeah,
Which I think part of the story is half of this world is about showing up and honing talents and being there, and the other half is just shooting your shot. Like there's no value I can place on being in the right place in the right time, but also there's so many times in your life where you'll be in the wrong place at the right time, or whatever the analogy is, and just not kind of getting your foot in the door. But by continuing to try and continue to get your work out there, or your name out there, you will inevitably look back on moments like this Vine for me, where you're like, that weird thing, that one day where I thought it was just kind of inconsequential, ended up changing my life.
But you said yes, and I think a lot of people might have seen, send us a Vine. I don't want to be in front of the camera. No, I'm not doing that. So, you say it's luck, but I think there's a lot of you in that. Yeah,
I think one last thing to put on here is I spent like months sending my resume to this place, trying to stand out on paper, saying, hey, like, I have a biology degree, I graduated uni, like, I can kind of figure this stuff out, but I'm really passionate about this, and that was not good enough. There are hundreds of resumes, or maybe thousands of resumes for that same job or for that same company. It wasn't until there was a 6-second Vine that helps get you to the top of that pile, that helps you stand out. So I don't know what today's Vine equivalent would be. It could be a TikTok, could be a tweet, could be a Reddit post. Could be something far more unexpected than that. But I think that's kind of the challenge, especially for young people, is figure out how you can stand out and take ownership over that.
That's really good, thank you. So tell us about your role then at Kick TV. So after that, like what was your role? Yeah,
so I was lucky to move to New York, and I was basically the social intern. So at this point, this is 2013, 2014. Facebook is big, Instagram is big, Twitter is big, TikTok didn't exist, Snapchat,
maybe?
I don't know.
Not sure.
It probably existed, but Kick wasn't super invested in it.
A different type of platform then.
Yeah, but Kick was, first and foremost, it was a YouTube channel. So what it meant that I was surrounded by, I got to basically be a fly on the wall for a bunch of seasoned kind of media professionals who had left TV jobs or media agency jobs to start this YouTube channel and tell football stories from an American voice. So I was just the one who was getting coffees, holding microphones, and through that you end up on set with Chelsea Football Club or Man City players and that kind of stuff. You end up kind of in the room for that, and that was super formative for me.
Cool. So was it that role where you realized you noticed the power of like working with top creators and collaborating? Is that where you got that love for that collaboration?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is now, it was FIFA 13, I think, FIFA 14, so it would have been probably 2013. But we did a big FIFA tournament at Kick TV, and part of that was, this was somewhat of the early, I'll say like kind of early days of creators being able to do this stuff full time. There was a group that we brought over for a FIFA tournament called the Sidemen. I actually don't know. I think they would have been the Sidemen then, but it was Rodashaw. Cal Freezy's not a Sideman, but he was part of that group. KSI came over at some point. A lot of those guys came over for our FIFA tournament, and at that point they were, Rodashaw Harry was, I think, 16. We needed like a parental permission for him to fly to America. But that was super impressionable to me, because you see how like collaboration and thinking outside the box will unlock audience, whether it's globally or just online. Sure. And so we were making these kind of FIFA tournament videos. They would go out. They're still up on their channels. Super funny to go back. But you'd see like, oh my God, they're 10xing our like all of our hard work and all of our premium production. Like their ability to speak to an audience is growing that far further. And then we would go to Major League Soccer games, and they would get hounded by American kids who were 16 or 17 who'd watch their stuff on YouTube, and you would never really thought that it had transcended, I guess, the Atlantic Ocean yet, and it was very clear that that was not the case. So that was kind of early in my career of like, oh my God, there's something to this ability to be
like clicked with you.
Yeah, to be able to kind of make videos on your own and reach a wider audience that way.
Nice, thank you. So from Kick TV, you went on to Whistle Sports, where you launched a YouTube channel, a YouTube original, with F2 Finding Football. Before we watch a couple of clips, can you please talk to us about that collaboration and that series?
Yes. So Whistle, to give you a little bit of background, it's kind of boring. It's like a media company, basically. It's now owned by DAZN, which is kind of like Sky Sports. They're a big broadcaster. But Whistle was basically an agency that would aggregate a bunch of YouTube channels and then try to sell brand partnerships, because what's bigger than one YouTube channel is 100, and the numbers are, like, the audience is 100 times bigger, or whatever it may be. So that was kind of Whistle's business model, but we would try to at least drive value to creators. And so I was the lucky one that just got to be kind of the owner of those relationships between Whistle as a business and then the YouTubers themselves.
Yeah.
So trying to help them get brand partnerships with Visa or Adidas or whatever it may be. And yeah, that was loosely kind of how that started.
Great. Well, let's have a look at some of that. So can we play clip 2 and then 3, please? Thanks.
In Finding Football, we'll bring you the best football talent, celebrity musicians, unique football pitches. It's like a stadium. And explore the beautiful game across the globe. This is Finding Football.
I'm Billy Wingrove, he's Jeremy Lynch, and we are the F2.
We've created the world's largest football YouTube channel. We cannot wait to explore this place. Japan, Iceland, Brazil, France,
Mexico, Argentina,
Thailand, the USA. They've literally mastered totally different techniques.
This is like nowhere we've ever been before.
This is well outside our comfort zone. Let's get out of here. It's not safe, it's not safe.
Yeah, boy, call on God. Most these haters talk silly, really wearing bro.
Music and soccer have a crossover.
Never pause, give me drums and make them hard.
You gotta learn and fail and learn from your failures. We should collaborate together to create something spectacular. The dream team's here.
Just seeing how you guys were bonding, playing football together.
That's why they call it the beautiful game.
Every kid wants to be a footballer.
This is football at its purest. This pitch, the people, true, pure happiness.
When they say the beautiful game, that's what they're talking about.
Dude, perfect.
What's up, guys? We're Dude Perfect.
We're the F2.
Let's have some fun!
Keep turning up the heat. I keep turning up the heat.
Billy struck an unbelievable pose after he made that shot. So I'm gonna try and blow him out of the water. Slow-mo movie explosion. That was my slow-mo movie explosion. I need you to add that in post, though, Chad. Comment below, let us know who had the better finishing pose, Billy or Ty. This is the rollout gong smash.
What was mine, now I won't let go of it.
Ty, that's not bad. I don't know if I can match that, to be honest.
Keep turning up the
That was nice, not bad.
That's the face of a man that knows.
By the way, I've been meaning to tell you, looks pretty good on you.
Mate, are you saying that I'm part of the team?
I think we might have a spot.
My favorite time of the day. That's when I get to go inside.
What up, gang? Jez and I have a sugar glass bottle up on the rail. I'm gonna hit it with a football, and he's gonna smash it with a soccer ball. Let's do it!
This one's called the Bottle Buster.
That's going to be tough to compete with. Good luck to you, Coach.
Thank you. Sorry, I think I didn't cut that one short enough. I could watch that all the time, but I'm just very conscious that I want to talk to you. Okay, so that must have been fun working with them.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my role at Whistle ended up being kind of a talent management role. So the F2 are a football duo, as you've probably seen at this point. And I spent basically a couple years on the road with them because I think more than anything, I earned their trust. I started to understand kind of their creative vision, so what they wanted to achieve on YouTube, but then also through working with them, start to really understand who their audience was more than anything. So that helped me when we're going to pitch. I wasn't at YouTube when we were doing that. I was at Whistle. So it helped us pitch to YouTube and say, hey, give us some funding so we can bring the show to life. Or go to Visa and say, hey, give us some funding so we can do a World Cup series or whatever it may be. And so it ended up being my ability or my way in to spend time with the F2 was just kind of over time earning their trust and showing that I understood their business, understood their goals, and then wanted to help them grow that as well. So that second collaboration was Dude Perfect, which is a massive American channel. I think they're probably still the biggest sports channel on YouTube.
Really?
I think they're over 50 million subs now at this point. And that was kind of the holy grail of being able to really kind of bridge the gap between F2, which were the biggest football channel on the planet, and then Dudes, who were just kind of the biggest American sports property, I guess, on YouTube. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So did you then move to the UK?
Yes. So long story short, through that work, it just meant that I was doing basically all my work from New York, but with UK-based creators, and it just made sense for me to move to London at some point. So
it's not football related, but what was your biggest culture shock moving to UK?
Oh man, that is a good question. You know what? I'm still pretty self-conscious about the fact that I don't have an opinion on like what a cup of tea should be. Like I don't know like the right right measurement for milk.
Instead. Like,
yeah.
What's your coffee? What do you go
I'm
for?
an oat cappuccino kind of dude.
Oh, there you go. I think that's quite controversial.
I think it just kind of gets me out of jail of like not having a perspective on a cup of tea. So
oat cappuccino. I hear oat latte a lot, but not oat cappuccino.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think everyone does talk about tea here.
Every once in a while, our team will like go to the kitchen at work and have like tea time. I'm like, can somebody like help me out here?
Do you just think it tastes gross?
No, I'm all for it. I just like
you just don't have an opinion.
Yeah, I just haven't spent the hours to really ingratiate myself in it.
So I think what have I got here? Yeah. So then you started to work on Instagram stories. Is that right, for the Premier League in the USA?
Yes. It's such a confusing storyline, but yeah.
Well, I was going to let's just show a clip of the type of thing you got up to there, which is when you went to Southampton.
Cool.
So this is clip 4, guys, and I'm not going to cut you short.
No. Yes. That one. This town on the south coast of England is definitely known for its soccer team, but also for its contributions to maritime history. The Titanic left from here, as well as thousands of US troops on D-Day in World War II. And speaking of history, it all starts here. 1885, St. Mary's Church, the Young Men's Club, comes together, starts playing soccer together, lays the foundation for what is now Southampton FC. My name's Chris Macchi. I'm an American living in London. This is On the Ground. Welcome to Southampton. But first things first, we've come up to the stadium early to meet Under-23's manager, Radi Jaidi, who, as a player here, battled for consecutive promotions with the club. He was a veteran leader for young players like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, I think this is what we're working for. This is the best feeling as a coach, see some players go through the ranks and be involved in the first team. Basically, it's always a pleasure to share that with the fans and the people who follow the club.
There's so much I would change about this now. That's okay.
I love it.
No, he's loved it. Oh, no, I didn't get drunk.
Very superstitious, writings on the wall. Very superstitious.
Now we've got some time to kill, so we've come to the Chapel Arms. The beer is cold, it's a family-friendly atmosphere, and everyone's allowed. Now, St. Mary's is such a great ground to bring the family. About an hour and a half before every kickoff, they've got a brass band down. The players actually pull up in a bus right to the front of the stadium, so the fans hang out here and, meet them, get autographs, whatever. It's pretty sick. Back to the stadium now just before kickoff. It's heating up. I thought I was going to get fish and chips because the water's right over there. No fish and chips here. We're doing foot-long hot dogs on French baguettes. Give me a second. I'll let you know how it is. All right, just finished the hot dog. I'll give it a strong 7.9 out of 10. It was a 10 out of 10 hot dog, but the baguette itself, that's aggressive. It's just too much for me. I've got my ticket. I'm heading in now to watch the game. You guys can swipe up to watch this game on NBC Sports Gold, the home of the Premier League. So it finishes 0-0 here at St. Mary's. I can't say it was pretty, but I will say it wasn't ugly. There were some really solid sparks, I would say, out of the second half, especially for Southampton. James Ward-Prowse could have been the difference maker. But unfortunately, it was too little, too late, and I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Also, can we talk about this? My superstition, what was up with that? It didn't work. I thought for sure that was an ironclad way of getting a win, and it didn't work. So we've made it back to London just in time to announce that next weekend, Arsenal-Liverpool at the Emirates is actually the first time we're going with the show. So, Gooners, if you have suggestions, leave them here, please. Guys, in the meantime, I've been Chris Macchi. You've been wonderful. See you next time.
I love how much you cringe.
Oh my God, we've come a long way.
Yeah, you've come a long way. How
Started
was
with the Vine. Started with the Vine.
Yeah, started with the Vine and was straight onto was that Instagram stories, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched that and I'm like, God, we're so British. You know, like listening to it from your point of view and like seeing like the bands. But so you went all over the UK with that, didn't you?
Yeah. So the backstory here, there's a lot of backstory.
Yeah, go for it.
When I was at Major League Soccer, Major League Soccer and the kind of football community in America is super tight knit. It's still pretty tight knit. It's just like it's a growing sport, so it's pretty small and I guess growing. But it meant that when I was working at Major League Soccer, I knew a bunch of the different agencies and a bunch of my friends were kind of doing creative work. So when I moved to London, I got a random note from a friend saying, hey, we run, as our agency based in Chicago, we run social handles for the Premier League because they have US-specific Premier League social handles, trying to reach out to the American audience. And they basically said, hey, we've got this idea for a show. You're London-based. Like, would you be up for, every weekend getting on a train and going to Burnley, to Newcastle, to Southampton, and just going around basically telling these cultural stories, trying to relate it to American kind of audience back home. That's why I said soccer.
Yeah.
I've learned better now. And then the whole superstition bit, like for the first, I think, full year, maybe I never saw a home team win. It was always a draw or a loss. So that was like, surely we need to do something different to like get somebody a freaking win here, please. So that's where the superstition, it didn't work. But
did you have any, like, were there any cities or stadiums or anything, just was anything weird happen at any of the, like, what were the cities like? What?
Oh, man.
Coming from America, like.
Yeah, no, I think, as an American kid who, like, otherwise would probably just sit in North London, like, it was an amazing experience to get out and see this country who, like, I'm now super passionate about kind of going. I get to go to Brighton every once in a while, or I don't know how else I would have gotten to Burnley.
So it's quite good that
Burnley,
you wouldn't have gone there, would you, without it?
So, I mean, I saw Newcastle away in, like, a million different stadiums. It's always fun to see Geordie fans.
You never came here because we weren't there
know,
then, were they? So if you're doing that now.
I know. So Forest is one. Villa is another big one that I haven't been to. But yeah, I think they all stand out for different reasons. But I don't know, it was a really, really fun way of kind of learning not just the football, but more locally kind of cultural stories about the UK.
It's really interesting as well for an American audience, like how different it would be if if a British person did that for a British audience. Do you know what I mean? It's such a different type of thing.
I mean, I think we're probably not that far. It might already exist now where like the NFL would have somebody in the US who's kind of not pandering, that's the wrong word, but presenting for an international audience.
It probably is. So the big difference I noticed there when I was looking through these clips is you kind of went from YouTube to Instagram, so long form to short form. Like, how did you find that switch in platform?
Yeah, I that's a good question. I love Instagram stories. I think TikTok kind of started to come on a little bit after I was doing this work. It was probably a thing. I think then it was kind of like bubbling in the background, but it was never really my focus. But ultimately, I think the difference is this was done. I'm going to sound like a grandpa here. This was done in an era where I had to download those clips, or like airdrop them to my computer, edit them on After Effects. That's why I was always doing stuff on the train, because that was my 2 hours of like, okay, you've got 2 hours to edit this like Titanic animation or something like that. So that's the time pressure. But now you can do most of that stuff on a mobile phone. So this was all kind of before mobile tools got amazing to where they are now. So I think that's a huge change, and that we're still just now kind of grappling with, even on the YouTube side. But it's amazing for creators to be able to have mobile kind of tool set. So I think that's maybe more so the difference than like long form or short form. I think it's enabling people to have better access to tools to create content, whether it's a DSLR or a mobile phone. I think that's the big change for me.
Okay, nice. You did something quite big after this. So you pitched to work for the Premier League in the UK, didn't you? The media team here.
Somewhat. When I was at Whistle. Channel. Yeah. So the Prem, up until 2018, did not have a YouTube channel, which to me is insane.
Yeah.
And so through working with them, I got to know their digital team. They were super, super gracious with me. There's a guy, Martin Axford, who just left after like 20 years. Worked someplace for 20 years. That's insane. But he basically kind of took me under his wing. But I was always a Whistle employee through all this. And somehow I still have the text message on WhatsApp where I texted Martin. I was like, can we talk about like a YouTube channel potentially? Like, is that a thing that you would entertain? And long story short, that conversation started and led to basically my last project at Whistle was launching the Premier League's YouTube channel.
Something quite small then.
Is it like it's still there are a couple of things that stand out as highlights. That's for sure a highlight. That F2 and Dude Perfect video that we did, I think that's over 100 million views right now. Like I'll never do anything that's that big on the internet ever again.
Yeah.
Maybe that's naive, but
you will.
I'll not plan on hitting another 100 million view video. So there are certain things like that. I think being part of the launch team for the Premier League
definitely
is certainly cool.
Let's play a clip from that channel. That's clip 5, please.
Drama from day one.
This is the launch video.
This is the league we want to watch.
Hey yo, welcome to the Premier League. You already know that be the techiest division that the world's ever seen. From 92 when it bust on the scene. Mad goals, mad games, football like we had never seen. Man United were the first to win it. Steve Bruce double headers in them final minutes. Ferguson made it clear he never came to play. Ain't nobody won it more even to this day. Hey, who remembers Arsenal's unbeatable run? I remember. Nah, I even talking the invincible one. Talking back in 02, back when Rooney came through. He was 16 and he shocked everyone. Man came off the bench and he hit top bins. Wenger was shocked, can't believe it went in. Youngest scorer in the league at the time, it was him. So shout out Rooney, that's a Premier League king. And so was Alan Shearer, the league's highest scorer. Ain't no other player scored more than him. Could be headers or shots, don't let him get near the box. 'Cause 9 times out of 10 you know he's gonna get in. And shout out Giggs, you know he's got the most assists. And he's lifted the trophy, 13 times? Ain't no player won it more, that's a Prem king for sure. You done know Giggs, he was ahead of his time. Hey, remember that game QPR and Man City? The title race was close, it was getting mad sticky. 1 minute left and the score was 2-2. Weren't looking like the City boys were gonna pull through. Fans started stressing, they thought that it was done. But they didn't know what was soon about to come. Mario to Aguero, a nickel, 1-2, Aguero left the defender shot. It went through. City won the league, first time in 4 decades, what a sight to be seen. A fairy tale end for the Mancini team. Great managers come and help the clubs live the dream. And all the best ones reside in the Premier League. Look at Mourinho and what he done for Chelsea. Man won them the league 2 years in a row. Try to know he ain't called a special one for no reason. He back to his talk and he let results show. No bias, being real as I can. Seems the pressure of the league really gets to a man. Remember 96 back when Keegan had his round, the love he had for his club? Yeah, I fully understand. But who's the best from the Prem though? Sterling, Gerrard, Salah, Aguero, Bell, Kane, Giggs, Ronaldo, Lampard, Scholes, how he found. This is Ardo, Beckham, Suarez, Burkhardt, Cole. The list is too long, man. Only God knows. But for me, it was Thierry Henry. Remember how them Gunners were back in 03? You know they were incredible. They couldn't be beaten. Suppose that's why they call it the invincible season. But you know what I love most about the whole Prem is the fact you never really know how it's gonna end. Like back in 16, no one thought Leicester was gonna win the league 5,000 to 1, but they still had a dream. Shout out Ranieri and the rest of the team. Jamie Vardy at the party, what a sight to be seen. Season just gone, tell me that wasn't mad though. Some people saying it's the best we ever had, yo. The race got deep, it went down to the wire. But see, I had a rain, they didn't want it to expire. The Reds nearly had it, they nearly brought it home. They always play with their hearts, so they will never walk alone. So near but so far, man, they lost it by a point. See the season just gone? Nah, it didn't disappoint. Arsenal, Man United, Tottenham and Chelsea. The battle for the third and the fourth, it was healthy. Some might even say it was the best of all all time. Remember Beckham's goal from the halfway line, or the two from your bowler back in 1995. Probably the best goals I've seen in my life. Moments from the Prem you could have never foresaw. Kinda like Blackburn in the season 94. So many great moments plus so many more. So many great goals and amazing scores. I just really hope the Prem goes on forever. I just love the way it brings people together. All different classes, all different races. No room for prejudice, no room for racists. No homophobics, anti-abrasive. This is everybody's game, rainbow laces. Look inside the crowd, so many different faces. Dare to enjoy, that's what everybody's aim is. The most watched league, man, it can't be beat. The kick scheme help young kids come off the streets. Sterling and Zaha, just to name a few. With hard work and dedication, that could be you. You know they watch it in China, they watch it in Kuwait, they watch it in India, they watch it in the States. Every time it goes away, it's the longest wait. But every time it comes back, man, it's always great. English top 20, man, you gotta be intrigued. Ain't no football in the world like the Premier League.
New season, a fresh start. This is the Premier League, and dreams do come true.
So that happened because of you?
I don't know. I think the takeaway here is to surround yourself with brilliant people, brilliant creatives. That was Rap Man, the rapper.
Yeah, what was it like to work with him?
Amazing creative. Yeah. Like there was a brief from the Premier League that was basically like, you know, tell a story. Rap Man's entire kind of like genre is that he tells stories. So he does these yearly wrap-ups on I think on YouTube usually, but he's now doing like Netflix shows and he's like gone clear. It's amazing. But usually he'll tell the story of 2022 or 2021 in a rap song kind of like formulated like that. So the brief was basically, you know, we want to hit on a couple things, but like loosely raps, like you go away and come back with your ideas. And I think that if that wasn't the first draft, that was draft 1.1 or something.
Really?
Like he smashed it. And then you get on set and he goes to work. It was really, really incredible. So I can take credit for maybe some of those discussions, but like something that beautiful and polished.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
You're just like sitting in the room, like amazed that this thing's coming together. But yeah, I'm super.
But
super
you pitched
proud
for that channel. That's amazing.
Yeah. Super proud to be part of the team that brought that to life. And a lot of the team that produced that are still working weekly on Premier League content. So yeah, super proud of that team.
Good, you should be. So we're going to get to YouTube now. So then in 2019, you joined YouTube in your current role. One of your key clients is Tommy Innit. So we kind of know Tommy here. We know Tom here. He was a student here for college before he kind of blew up into what he is now. How do you support Tom and his incredible career?
That's a great question. The work that, first off, I am not taking any credit for Tom's genius, his blow up or his hard work. But I think I try to compliment him mostly actually on kind of creative and how he wants to bring things to life. So he's got a team behind him that help him with doing a tour and his book and live shows and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to take any of the credit for that. But when we sit down and his goal is to have a video hit 50 million views or to grow his audience, that's where I try to help
like the
him.
Strategic side.
Exactly, more kind of like YouTube specific stuff. So Tom's been smashing it with YouTube Shorts. He just did one like 2 weeks ago that's got like 30 million views or 25 million views or something stupid like that. And my goal basically is to just help him with ideas, not necessarily creative ideas, but you can use shorts like this. There's a new thing where you can reply to comments with the YouTube short. So like, let's think about if you did a Q&A and had people, you know, asking questions in the comments, you can reply to them on a short, that kind of stuff. So more kind of just sending him different things that I've noticed, different kind of ideas of how to take advantage of the platform and the opportunity to grow an audience there.
That's amazing. Let's look at the moment that you presented him with his 10 million subscriber plaque. So that's clip 6, please, guys.
This is YouTube Chris.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, this is the winner. Oh my god. Dear Tommy Innit, at 100,000 we thought, not bad. But 10 million? At that point we're scratching our heads. The fact is, you're no longer a great channel. I'm a movement. Apparently. Well, I hope you accept this diamond creator. A diamond! Let's on the mean streets of Nottingham.
Where else would we do this? There's no better time and place than right now.
Napkins. Oh my god. Holy shit. It's got my face in it. Oh, that's the reflection.
Is it spelled right? That's my biggest fear.
Tommy Innit. That's me. Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm grubbing it. Oh. YouTube bag. YouTube socks. YouTube bottle. Coat.
So look at Max.
Oh, yes! Holy shit! I stay snug in my YouTube hoodie. Message in the bottle. Oh, there is? What the That's your receipt. Yeah, you didn't get one of these, did you, KSI, you fucking prick?
Sorry about the swearing.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. This probably isn't on the channel that I have 10 million, which will be particularly weird, so, thanks. Okay.
Let's clap. I love that video.
That's for sure the best part of the job. Like every once in a while, you get to deliver a subscriber plaque to somebody. That's where it doesn't feel like work. That's like an honor.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
I love how excited he is for free stuff.
Yeah,
Like everyone loves something
everyone
free.
is, yeah.
And you're wearing that jacket now.
I'm also excited
Came
for free
proper, like
stuff.
branded up this morning, didn't you? I was like, oh,
I know.
love you. Love
I'm
you.
an embarrassment.
Sorry, Keepy? Yeah? So you've been to Nottingham before then? I didn't know this. So where was that?
That was.
That was it. Oh, I
course
was
it
just
was.
I was looking at it the other day. I was like, where are they? So
Very nice Indian restaurant there.
Is that? Did you literally come, do that, and then leave again?
Yes.
Or so
I stayed the night that night.
Oh,
but yeah.
what do you think of Nottingham?
I love it. It's great.
Good answer, right? Good
I have
answer.
to spend more time here.
Yeah, you should definitely. You are welcome.
Thank you.
So I want you to tell us about Future. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Future,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Future, but Future,
Exactly.
YouTube. I get it. Yeah, so it's an initiative to find the next big creator. Can you tell these guys about that?
Yes. So Future is, I guess the easiest way is it's now a YouTube series, but at one point it was like an initiative or a goal of ours. But one of the creators that I work with is Ali A. He's a gaming creator based in the UK, makes a lot of Fortnite videos, and then also has a second channel, which is now huge, where he just does a lot of React and kind of like fun like variety content.
Sure.
Ali is an incredible creator. He's constantly thinking of new ideas and ways to grow his audience and his business. And he kind of pitched this idea that he was going to do, frankly, regardless of whether we support it or not. He had already kind of invested in this.
Yep.
But he was super passionate about finding the next big YouTube gaming creator. So he had this deck together. He had a team that was basically hired to help bring this thing to life.
Nice.
But the pitch was, how can YouTube support us as we go try to find the next big YouTube gaming creator? It came at a time where we were also, as a business, trying to find ways to support the growth of YouTube Shorts and just find new creators through YouTube Shorts. And so it matched up with the ability to basically sponsor Future as YouTube and as YouTube Shorts. And what that really means is the official like entry mechanism to try to join Future as a contestant was through YouTube Short. So the format was basically like any other talent show where you submit your clips and then that whittles down to a top 10 contestants, and then there's 10 weeks of different video challenges where you've got to play Fortnite and do a funny challenge, or you have to play Rocket League and live stream it in like basically different formats. That was all Ali's like brainchild.
Yeah.
But we as a business tried to get behind that and support it and drive marketing and energy through it as well.
Cool. We've actually got a clip of that. It's clip 7.
Welcome to Future. Have you dreamt of becoming a gaming YouTuber?
Well, this is your chance.
Future is a brand new YouTube gaming talent show
featuring your favorite creators.
Aiming to find the next generation of creator talent.
With the winner receiving $100,000. Oh my God.
And a chance to become the next big YouTube gaming creator.
10 of you watching right now will be chosen for the Future show.
to create weekly videos across different games.
You'll be watched and judged by your favorite YouTubers,
as well as millions of viewers right here on the Future channel.
We know it's challenging growing a YouTube channel.
We've been there.
And the Future show will give you a once-in-a-lifetime chance
to help make your dream become reality.
We've partnered with YouTube Shorts,
a brand new short video experience right here on YouTube.
To apply, all you need to do is create a short,
a vertical video that is 60 seconds or less.
Make it a montage, a reaction, top 10,
or anything that showcases
why you should be the next
big gaming YouTube creator.
Upload your short and use the hashtag #FutureShow in the video title.
Then send it to us at future.show, link in the description below.
Applications will only be open for a month, so don't miss out.
Show us why you should be the next big gaming YouTuber.
What are you waiting for? Sign up right now at future.show.
You could be right here.
Watched by the biggest gaming creators in the world.
So subscribe and follow Future Show on all social media
to stay up to date with everything Future Show related.
And make your 60 seconds count.
Good luck.
Cool. So I'm going to talk to you in a minute about like some other things you do, but you're working with a lot of online gamers, right? That's mainly your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think probably 75 or 80% of my time is spent kind of in the gaming space.
So other than Tommy, can you tell us who you're working with?
I can tell you some of them,
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
So Dan TDM, you saw here, LD Shadow Lady, another UK creator, LEA, Jacksepticeye I work with, Outside Xbox. There are many, many others. Yami is another one that I get to work with quite a bit.
These guys will be like, I know who they are, whereas I'm definitely not cool enough.
It's okay. There's a lot of Minecraft. I work with a lot of Minecraft creators.
Yeah, my kids play Minecraft. Yeah, I'm old. So it's just made me think of something else, though. There's a question I was going to ask you a bit later on, but it makes sense to do it now because it's about YouTube Shorts.
Cool.
So I mentioned earlier we've had YouTubers in this week, we've had influencers in this week. All of them talk about YouTube Shorts as something that's going to be the next massive thing. From YouTube, what's your perspective on that?
So I'll share my personal kind of opinion on this. I think YouTube Shorts provides an opportunity to reach beyond your core audience. Whether you've got 100 subscribers or 100 million subscribers, I think the way Shorts works is it gets not only to your audience or some percentage of your audience, but a little bit further outside that. So I think the game on YouTube is always the same. It's how can I reach people with my ideas, my kind of creativity, my ideas, and get them interested enough that they would want to maybe subscribe. And a subscribe means that maybe they want to watch another video and another video. So I think Shorts, at least that opportunity to reach beyond that core audience, reach beyond that sub box that so often creators feel like they're really just kind of creating for, and try to find that wider audience. Whether that's YouTube Shorts or any other kind of video platform, I think that's kind of the game that we're all playing right now. How do we reach beyond our core audience and continue to grow while also staying true to what we want to make? It's not necessarily that you always have to go try to find the most, like the meta, the most effective tactic. I think it's more about finding the ideas that you want to bring to the world and then maybe the ways that you can share that with a wider audience. So that's kind of my pitch for Shorts.
It seems to be the tip that people have been giving this week is do YouTube Shorts. That seems to be like the kind of rhetoric. And none of them work with YouTube or with yourself. They're just people, like they're not quite there yet. But, you know, people with, I think, Project Air has like 300,000 YouTube subscribers, and he was saying it, and he produces one video a month. So it just shows how they're seeing the value in one video a month, but keeping engagement throughout the Shorts.
Yeah, I'll say, like, I'm definitely not here to say there's one way to succeed. That's absolutely not true. I think there are a million different ways to succeed on YouTube, and I can support that with a bunch of different creators.
Sure.
But so I guess the point is Shorts is there to kind of help you maybe fill the gaps or help you maybe try new ideas that you don't want to do a long form video on, or maybe you think through content creation through a short form lens, like I did with Instagram stories. And that's also kind of what it's there for as well. So I think it's there how to meet creators where they are and how they want to be creating.
Sure. So our final clip that we're going to show in a minute is, we're not finished though, not finished with you, but just our final clip is it's with Ben Foster. Can you tell us about your relationship with Ben?
Yes, I actually, when we were watching the Premier League video, I didn't realize this, but Ben was one of the first clips. So Ben Foster is a creator that I work with now. I'll say he's a full-time creator. Ben spent, I don't know how many years as a goalkeeper in the Premier League. So he's a professional footballer. He played at Watford and only just retired last year. Not because he had a YouTube channel, but I think he also has found that he really likes spending his time with his podcast and kind of building this media empire that at one point was just him and a GoPro. So I've kind of been supporting the growth of Ben. I'm sure we can pick up after the video, but he's one of the more unique creators that I've gotten to work with because
let's show you giving him the plaque and then you can tell us. So you had to present his plaque too, and it's a really nice video. That's clip 8, please. I think it's our last video.
Today, we've got a really, really interesting guest for you. We have got our YouTube partner manager, the main man for anything you need to know about YouTube, Chris Macchi.
The most boring guest that'll ever grace this podcast.
Yes. Chris Macchi is cool as you like. Chris Macchi is a cool guy. If you're in the YouTube world, you know who Chris is. But for everybody else, Chris, please try and explain what you actually do.
All right, so my name is Chris Macchi. I'm your YouTube Strategic Partner Manager, so SPM. But really, I work at YouTube. I am the lucky one that gets to work with you and a bunch of other top creators to try to help figure out how to make this thing a business or a channel or, channel strategy, all that kind of stuff. So that's loosely my responsibility.
So list off a few of your clients. List off a few of your big boys. Come on.
Okay, so I most of my time is actually spent in the gaming space. So I would say maybe 90% of my time is on gaming creators. And then there's still a little bit of football. I've always worked in football. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I work with the likes of the top gaming creators in the UK. So Dan TDM, Jacksepticeye, LEA, Tommy Innit. There are a bunch that I'm also not naming there, but
A lot of kind of heavy hitters, OGs in the gaming space.
You'll be upsetting a few people there, aren't you, leaving them out?
I know. They know I love it. Yeah, I hope that they know that I love
they
them.
will. If you show them the same love, you show us.
I try my best.
He does. Chris has shown us some love, hasn't he, to be fair?
He has.
On that note, I'm just going to interrupt you guys. I tried to sneak this in here. I was going to try to put it in my backpack.
That looked heavy, that did.
It is heavy, yeah. I brought a little Christmas gift.
Oh, mate.
My entire thought here was that I was going to, for those that don't have video here, just listening on the podcast, I just handed Ben a neatly wrapped present.
It's a good sized present.
I put some time and effort into wrapping this thing last night. I thought I was going to be able to sneak this in my backpack and like unveil it without you guys knowing that it was even here. Go ahead, unwrap it.
Is it okay? Yeah,
Open it.
Right, so guys, Chris has handed me this present.
It's my Christmas present.
It's about 1.5 feet long by about 1 foot wide.
It's bigger than you could fit in a backpack. So like the whole surprise is ruined.
This looks nice.
It's got a nice gold, like copper type clasp on it. Ben's furiously opening it like a kid on Christmas Day.
That's how I open my presents on Christmas Day, by the way. I'm not one of those who does it nice and neat and all that kind of stuff.
Doesn't surprise me.
Right, this is, right, we've got a box. It's like... Oh, look at this, guys. It's got YouTube on it. I think I know what this is. Mate. Right.
Not much of a surprise anymore, is it?
So, we're going to open this up. You ready for this, bad boy? This is the first time I've ever got to see one of these. Ever. It's heavy as well. Right, you ready for this, Tomasi?
Mate, I'm ready. Oh.
Ready? Go. Oh, look at that bad boy. Oh, my day.
So this is, tell us what it is, Ben.
Right, so this is because the other day, incidentally, on the Cycling GK, we just passed 1 million subscribers. And when you pass 1 million subscribers, you get yourself a lovely gold play button plaque. And I've got to say, mate, Macchi, that is incredible, mate. Thank you so much.
I'm looking at it now, reading it. Like, I didn't read it beforehand, but I was terrified that there would be something misspelled.
There's no errors.
It's okay.
There's no errors, mate.
This one says Ben Foster. This one says Ben Foster Cycling GK.
Yeah, but he was a no one back then.
Exactly,
Right.
yeah. Now I am the Cycling GK. That's what people don't call me Ben Foster anymore, mate. They call me Cycling or Cycling
We just put that
GK.
on the back of your shirt.
Or that YouTube guy.
Yeah. All right, that's good.
Oh, mate, that
Love
is
it.
incredible. Thank you so much. Let me
There
just
we go.
take this to the camera. If you're watching, by the way, I'm just going to bring it up to the cameras just so you can see it. And if you're not watching, make sure you go and watch the video. It's a belter. Have a look at this.
It's belty yet. We haven't filmed it. But...
A lot bigger than I thought it was going to have to be. So, boom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations, boys. Tomasi, very well done. Boys behind the camera, you guys don't get enough love.
They do. They get
Very
loads
well
of
done.
love.
It was so good.
It's the best part of the job, for
Is
sure.
it?
Yeah.
How many have you given out? Do you know?
I don't get to give
Not as
out
much as
that
you want
many
to.
in person as I would like to, but
It's still nice.
yeah.
I think what I love watching those videos because it just shows your relationship with them. Do you know what I mean? And he clearly loves you, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'm
I
super
watched half
fortunate.
an hour of that earlier.
Ben is amazing. Tom, who's kind of his sidekick, he runs his business. They do their podcast together. It's a credit to them and what they've kind of brought to YouTube, brought to their podcast is now on Spotify exclusively. It's a credit to what Ben and his team have built and kind of brought to life on their own kind of their own efforts.
So that's kind of that bit done. So I'm going to go to some general kind of questions, and I'm going to go to the audience soon. So if you've got anything you want to ask, Chris, let me know. But I'm going to ask, do you see a change in the landscape of the high production quality, beautiful pictures and amazing video content now that we've got shorter form like B-Reel, TikTok now, YouTube Shorts? For me, it feels quite quick and authentic. Like, what's your opinion? I know you said they're different avenues, but what do you think about those short forms?
Yeah, definitely. So again, this is just my personal opinion. I think there's space for everything. I think we will continue. I'm assuming Mr. Beast will continue to make bigger and bigger and more expensive videos. That might be wrong, but that's kind of my expectation, my understanding. So I think that will continue to be a thing. And as a platform, I think we also want to make sure that we're able to bring quality content on the platform as well. So that's working with the Premier League to make sure that their highlights are there, whatever it may be. So I think there's definitely a space for like shinier and bigger and whatever.
Still the beautiful things.
Yeah, but I think just in general, like so much of this stuff is just dictated by how people are watching videos, and I think people want more. Myself, I'll go back to watching Casey Neistat as an example. I just want kind of more relatable, like authentic stuff again.
Yeah.
So it's not to say I don't want to watch the big, expensive, crazy idea videos.
Long form.
But I think for me personally, there's a desire to watch more personal bits as well. So maybe we'll see the return of a vlog or a weekly vlog or daily vlogs. I'm not sure.
And when you're like consuming social media, are you on TikTok, Instagram? Like, what's your daily? Like before I go to bed, I'm always going through my Instagram. How do you
I still kind of fall back on Instagram. I think maybe because that's where most of my friends are.
Yeah,
I think
same.
I'd probably use TikTok more if my friends and kind of my peers were using TikTok. So yeah, I watch a ton of YouTube, as you can probably imagine.
Yep.
I spend a lot of time on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
do you
Instagram.
think Twitter's changed like with the
Definitely,
new
yeah.
ownership? Like, what's your opinion on that?
It's hard to say. I mean, like.
Positive or negative?
It's disappointing, I think, but I don't know. That's my personal opinion.
That's been the vibe this week as well. It's like
yeah,
there's more
definitely.
hate now.
I mean, it's hard to know what, like, if I had the money and I bought it, maybe I'd have a different direction for it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I've gotten a ton of value out of Twitter over the years, and my hope is that we can continue to use that as a space to share ideas.
Well, some of our content creators on my course are really into Twitter still, you know, and that's like I always see them as the younger generation. They're the guys who are going to be making stuff in 10 years or now,
definitely.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the curious thing will be, you know, like anything else, platforms have to get better over time to continue to justify people being interested in them. So whether it's Twitter now or 10 years from now, like something will evolve from that, whether it's Twitter 3.0 or a different platform.
Sure.
Hopefully we just continue to push in a place where that's more useful for more people and connecting more people as well.
Nice, thank you. So I think you might have answered this with Casey Neistat, but who is your favorite YouTuber or creator and why?
Okay, so Casey, I think long term is one of them. The F2, frankly, they've been really good to me, and I was a fan of theirs long before I got to work with them. But there's some weird ones. I've fallen in love with. There's a Belgian creator named Average Rob. Do you guys know
Anyone
Average
heard
Rob?
of Average Rob?
Super funny. It's kind of like a Jackass type energy.
Okay, slapstick.
Yeah, but they do like turbo vlogs, and it's all in English. But he's one of the bigger creators in Belgium now. But just brings a completely different energy to the platform. So Average Rob is a huge one for me. There's a guy named Bo Miles in Australia who is an outdoor educator, but he like makes these insanely engaging like videos of like building a shed in his backyard out of scrap wood and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like the pinnacle of creativity. It's maybe that goes back to not needing more and more expensive camera gear and all that kind of stuff. Like some people are just amazing talents, like storytelling talents. So that's what I tend to gravitate towards.
When you're watching Instagram Reels, what's the common theme that comes up on yours? Mine is so lame. It's icing cakes. I have no idea why. I don't ice cakes, but I think everyone has that weird thing that happens. What's yours?
I've gone down this
rabbit
wormhole
hole,
of like woodworking. Like I'm not a woodworker, but like God, I'll sit and watch somebody make a table, and like I don't know why. I don't like.
But
it
then
feels
we
very
watch
old
it.
timey, but like.
And because you're watching it, they show you more.
Yeah. So that's
interested
I guess
in
my
yours.
wormhole.
Yeah, fair enough. So there are some creators out there selling online training programs. So like Ali Abdaal teaches people he claims to be successful on YouTube, and like he's got a formula. Do you believe there is a formula? You kind of touched on it earlier saying you didn't actually, but how do you think people can be successful? How can people stand out? Should they do these courses? Like, what's your kind of opinion?
I think, okay, so my opinion on this is I think so much of success on platforms right now is down to not quitting. I think that's more than anything, that's probably the goal out of this is find something that you love enough to do consistently enough that you just get enough reps. I don't believe that there's a formula. I don't believe, like the Rap Man video when we launched the Premier League channel, you start with a blank piece of paper and say, how do you launch the Premier League's channel on YouTube? Like that's really terrifying. And there are probably a million ideas that would have been a bigger video than that. We got lucky that one ended up getting a good reception. But there's no real, there's no one way to do this, I think is what I'm trying to get at. So going back to courses, for me personally, what I would get out of a course, more so than anything else, there's definitely insights and ways to look at analytics to kind of inform how you're going to make content in the future. But for me, if I were to do a course like that, it's more about accountability. It's more about finding a community of people who are going to ridicule me if I don't make a video that week because the rest of the cohort is moving on. Which is why maybe I would.
With your friends rather than paying thousands of pounds.
I was gonna say I think maybe like I would want to be in you guys' shoes here, not only for the education that you're getting and the experience, but also to be among other peers who have similar goals, who maybe want to keep each other accountable. If you talk to Tom about his early kind of rise through YouTube, it's Dream SMP, but more than anything, they were on Discord calls for hours and hours and hours, talking about thumbnails and titles and that kind of stuff. And I think more than anything, having a group of people that you can bounce ideas off of,
sound things out,
and learn from, and then kind of be open and share your ideas and your thoughts on. I think maybe that's where the stuff really comes to life. So whether that's a course or finding a couple friends, or
Whatever
maybe
works
it's someone
for
on
you.
the other side of the world, but you've just kind of found a good balance with
That's good
getting
tips.
feedback. I think that's what I would go in on.
Yeah, thank you. So before I open up to the rest of the room, what advice would you give students wishing to pursue a career in content creation? So not what you just said. Sorry, I realise I just asked you that kind of. But yeah, what's your main advice for these guys going out into that world?
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here. It's a great question. Speaking from my point of view, I never felt like my career was really defined as being a creator, but maybe someone who is in the room with creators. My value, what I brought to the world was maybe a sounding board or ideas, but ultimately it was somebody else's platform that it was going out on, or somebody else who had built an audience that we were kind of working with. So for me personally, I found value in doing my research and like watching a bunch of content or finding how people are trying to interact. And my value there was being willing to speak up and say, hey, like, what if we tried this? And there are a million different examples that I could give of times where I was an intern at Major League Soccer and we were trying to launch a rebrand, and I said, what if we did it in FIFA? I think just being able to have an opinion on something is incredible. That opinion does not need to be right or wrong. It just has to be a stake in the ground that other people can ideate off of. So that's not creator specific. That's more about like a career in the creative industries, because there are no good ideas or bad ideas. Maybe there are. I don't know. Whatever. It sounds like a
People
good thing
want
to
to hear
say.
them though, yeah.
Yeah, but I think so often you'll sit around a meeting, whether it's now or 10 years from now, you'll sit around a meeting table about something creative and nobody's willing to take the first shot. And there's something about loading up the first arrow, putting it out there. You could miss the target by a mile, but at least you've put something out there that people can work off of. And it's still something I struggle with. There's constant imposter syndrome. I think that's just going to go on forever in a creative industry. And whether you're doing this as a creator on TikTok or on YouTube or on Twitter, whatever it may be, or whether you end up working for a marketing agency or being a TV director, whatever it may be, somebody's got to take that first shot. And I think encouraging people, whether you're young or old, starting that career or maybe closer to the end of it, to be willing to say, here's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, let's work off of this.
Being brave, I guess, is something you're
Exactly.
saying there.
It's bravery. And I don't think you get better at it. I think you just get more comfortable with saying, all right, well, here's what I think. Let's work off of that.
Nice. That's really good. Thank you.
There's a magic to that, I think.
Yeah, I think there is. I think it does take a lot of bravery to put your opinion out there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come around with a mic if anyone has any questions. So please pop your hand up if you have a question. Oh, I'll go down. Oh, a few. Okay, I'm going to start at the front because it's easy for me.
What would you say for people that want to make their first video but are too shy to do it?
I think it's a great question. It's something, to be honest, it's something I'm struggling with as well. Like one of my goals last year was to make $1 on the internet as like my New Year's resolution. I started streaming a bunch, and some of that was like self-serving because I wanted to get more familiar with like the actual streaming tools within YouTube. But ultimately, I stopped, and I'm now thinking about like, hey, like my job is really fun, but it's not super creative. I'm not making videos like I was in the past. So let's get back to whether it's making Instagram stories or reels or something like that. And I haven't started, to be honest. I don't know what's stopping me. So my advice is not really based in my own experience, but if you go to talk to any of my creators, the bigger ones, the smaller ones, whatever, all of them have videos that they were embarrassed by that they've deleted or made private or whatever. My fucking Vine is terrible. Like, you have to start somewhere.
I love that it's still there, though.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised that Vine.co is still a website. Like,
so
it's still up. So I don't like. I don't have great sage advice here. I think at some point, do the first one and then find a way. This is what I struggle with. Like, find a way to do the second one. The first one you'll end up doing eventually. The second one is hard, and then the third one after that is hard. But after a while, they get a lot easier, and you start to learn from that, and it becomes less scary. So. I'm in it with you. Maybe we can be accountability partners. There's no like easy answer to that, but I think it's not about the first one. It's about the 100th one. It's about the 1000th one. And the creators who have been lucky to make a full-time living out of this will all say, my first stuff was shit, but at least, again, it was the first arrow that I worked off of. So there's some magic to that as well.
Also, Dan, you've got to do it for your Becoming Visible assignment.
Sorry if it seems kind of off topic, but what would you say is like a good sleep schedule for like peak motivation, especially because there is a good balance between doing stuff and like perfection. And I feel like when you've got less sleep, you're very focused on perfection, whereas when you've got more sleep, you're very just motivated to put stuff out.
Yeah, definitely. There's an incredibly generic answer. I think everyone's body works different. My little brother is he's got a terrible sleep schedule in my opinion, but it works for him. So a lot of my creators end up working later into the night, sleeping later into the morning. So I'll get pings or emails that they need help with stuff at midnight or 11 or whatever. So that works for them. Other people are morning owls, or morning owls, is that the word? I don't know. Morning people, maybe is the better way to put it. Yeah, the opposite of a night owl. Is an incredibly generic answer, but I think it takes time to find kind of what works for you. I just kind of stick to a normal. I try to be out of bed by 7:30 or 8. Sometimes that's later, sometimes it's earlier. But I also like playing video games until 3. So I'm not great at holding myself accountable on that either.
I've got a bit of a different question. So my question is, which sports teams do you support, whether it be basketball, obviously, because you're American, or like football or something? Yeah. And who do you think's better, Messi or Ronaldo?
Good question. So weirdly, like I grew up loving and playing all American sports, but the only sport that I really actually followed from an early age was football in the Premier League. I don't know how. Like my parents didn't really get me into it. I have a couple brothers. It was the same for them, but like there's no great answer as to how or why that started. I started I played football long before I knew the Premier League was a thing, so it's weird to get to have that be formative. So always loved Arsenal. I think because I started to first get experience with the Prem when Thierry and the team were kind of amazing that era. So Arsenal is the easy answer. But as an American fan, I'll be honest, like I think some of this is similar here when you look at British fans and their attachment to American sports. Like I also really like going to Liverpool. I like watching Chelsea. Like sure, I feel more special about Arsenal, but I think it's different not growing up here where you're kind of like stuck in what. Yeah, exactly. So that's a long way to say Arsenal. Liverpool. Okay. And then Messi, Ronaldo. I think Messi. I think Ronaldo's definitely earned it, but there's something about Messi that feels otherworldly, where Ronaldo, all the stories are like he just outworked everyone. Fair play, that's also special, but there's also something cool about just being like an alien from a different planet, which I think Messi is.
Who had their hand up over here? Oh yeah, just coming.
Thank you guys for being here, by the way. It means a lot to me.
Hi. Thank you, by the way, for this is great. I just wanted to know, is it like, do you think it's important for people to use like small clips and then grow from the small clips on places like TikTok and Shorts and things? Do you think that's really important?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the discussion of the era or the year or the past couple of years. I think so. I'm working with a couple of people who are making podcasts. Let's use podcasts as an example, right? 1.5 hour videos or hour-long videos. Like, sure, it might be really interesting. You might have the most insane guest on there, but unless that's really, really cleverly titled and thumbnailed and has an insane intro, no one's going to get 40 minutes into that podcast unless they basically know you personally. So I think there has to be some sort of what we call like a funnel of audience. So like you have to try to find ways of reaching beyond that core audience. And this is like, whether you're on 100 million subs or like 100 subs, this is the same challenge. Like people want to continue to grow these things. I think Shorts, whether it's short clips or TikTok or anything, I think it's part of how people are consuming content right now. And so you have to be able to find ways to tell maybe a 40-minute story as a 40-minute video, and then find those little bits that might hook somebody and make them interested in watching a 2-minute video, and then an 8-minute video, and then a 40-minute video. That's the game. Like platforms change, and a lot of this is in response to how people are watching content. I deal with a lot of people asking me like, what's the secret to the algorithm? Like you guys might have heard this, I don't know, but like the easiest way to answer that question is if you change algorithm to audience. Like what's the secret to the audience? What are people watching? What are they going to be interested in watching? Like stop trying to trick some sort of computer and start trying to reach human beings. I think everything becomes easier, or at least more clear. Maybe not easier, it's always going to be difficult, but I think it becomes more clear. So short form content, I think, is part of being able to drive people to longer form. Or maybe you just want to make short form content too. It doesn't always have to be a traffic driver to long form as well. Yeah, it's a great one. Yeah. So I think CTR is a pretty good, so click-through rate. On YouTube, we're talking about like with long form content, I think there are basically two things you're trying to solve for: click-through rate and watch time. Shorts is a completely different game. I don't have sage advice really. I think we're still trying to figure out exactly why people watch the shorts that they do and what they're looking for in short form content. So I think it's all about kind of getting ideas out there. But long form for sure, click-through rate and watch time I think are the things we're trying to solve for.
Hi, so I kind of think you kind of answered my question, but I'm going to ask anyway. So when creating content, is video quantity or quality more important? That would be one. And then my next question was how you beat the algorithms, whatever, you know what I mean.
Sure.
And then again, paid or organic marketing. What do you think about that?
Good questions. Okay, so the first one was quality or quantity. I'd be lying if I said that there was one answer. I hate that I'm just like giving generic answers, but Dude Perfect, the big American channel, it might be different now, but they used to upload one video every other week. That's it. I also work with creators. Slogo is a gaming creator in the UK. Over 10 million subs. He made 2 videos a day, every single day for 3 years. Like, didn't miss a day. So there are different ways to get to growth. I think it's really hard to say one or the other. If I had to guess, if I had to pick one or the other, I would say probably quantity when you're starting out, and then quality once you figure out the audience. I think quantity is how you find an initial audience and kind of build that. Quality is how you go deeper with them, and then word of mouth ultimately is how the stuff starts to catch on fire, like virality. And I think maybe that's where quality starts to come in. The algorithm, I think beating the algorithm, the fact of the matter is it's always changing. So I could say something today that is like, oh, try to make a short that is a certain number of seconds and it loops or whatever it may be. Like, that will be completely different tomorrow because it's reflective of how people are consuming content. So the algorithm, I think, is less about trying to defeat this machine and more so just about getting people to want to watch your content for longer or interact with it more. So whether that's short form or long form, you can see all this stuff on your kind of analytics dashboards. Look at retention. That's a really important one, no matter whether it's long form or short form. If people are only watching the first 10 seconds or 10% of your video, you're missing a lot of potential audience there. Go back to that intro, try to hook them with a different audience, with a different kind of storytelling metric. The last one was organic or paid. I'm all organic. I have no background in paid media. There's definitely kind of as that's how Google makes their money, selling ads. There's for sure a big business component to that, and maybe other people would be better posed to speak to the paid side, but all of my creators have made it to where they are or built businesses just based off organic growth. So that's the one I feel more passionate about, maybe.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any more questions? Yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions. The first one is, so I'm a music artist. I was going to say, what's the best way to engage an audience on YouTube in terms of music?
It's a good question. So there's a team that looks after artists at YouTube. So I work with gamers, they work with music artists, so they might have a different answer. Definitely one more entrenched in experience. But something that we've basically built that is not, I don't think in my opinion, is really being used that well right now is Remix. So you put out a short and use your own music in the background and then tell people to like either duet or remix off the back of that. I think that's probably a growth hack within the music space because you're taking advantage of trends that weren't really there in the past. That'll be my answer. It's probably not a great answer. The music team might have a better answer there.
And I've got another question. So what's your opinion on using YouTube live streams to grow your audience?
I deal with this a lot with gaming creators, and I think it's the same whether you're a gamer, a fashion and beauty creator, or a musician. Live is amazing to go really deep with an audience, but it's hard to grow on live. I don't know that I can sit here and say that live is the best. If you only have an hour and you've got to go to work and you've got to go to school, if you only have an hour a day, live is really good if you've got an audience that wants to spend time with you. It's really hard to go from, in my experience, because I did this and struggled with it, it's really hard to go from 10 live viewers to 100 live viewers to 1,000 live viewers. I think it's really hard to grow live in general. I do think if you are energized by live as a format, there are definitely ways to grow up off that. I think more than anything, start to think backwards about why is someone going to spend time with me? Why is someone going to start spending time with me first? And then how am I continuing to engage them over time? I think that's basically the challenge with live is you can find ways to get people in the door, tweeting out the link, blowing up on Reddit, telling people to be, I'm going live at 10 a.m. so be there. Like, you can find ways to get people there, but like, are they there? Honestly, 5 minutes into it, that's not always the case. So I think live is really tough because you have to be like constantly engaging, which is, I don't have the energy for it personally. Like, I'm not great at that. Some people, you might be an incredible live creator. So if that's a format that energizes you, just be really conscious of how you're engaging people. 5 minutes in, 40 minutes in, whatever. There's a lot of dead space naturally in live that I think is hard to work around. So did I answer your question with that?
Yeah, I was
kind of.
Say, like, thinking about the live creators I watch, like, you know, Speed, and you've got Kai Cenat, and, you know, Kai, he's got all these sort of big names on his live streams, and I feel like that's probably how he grows his audience. He taps into a lot of different industries with that. You know, he's worked with like music artists, etc. Speed's just a very wacky personality, very open personality. So I guess those are two ways to sort of tap into that.
Yeah,
area.
definitely. So for those that don't know, Speed is massive on YouTube Live. He is just like super unpredictable, has this incredible energy. And I think people tune into Speed's streams because they've become kind of this, I was going to say meme, that's the wrong way to put it, but they've become this kind of like center point for community, and you have to be there to see what he's going to do next. You never really know what's coming next on the Speed stream. So I think there's something interesting there. I think it's also really hard to replicate. Like, it's just, sometimes you have to say that personality is 1 in a million, and it's hard to go out and say, I'm going to create a Speed stream for myself personally. Kai is completely different. I think he's gotten to this point where he's built a community that is now so big that music artists want to plug in. If Kai were starting from zero today, I think he'd still be successful, but it's hard to get, I was going to say Drake, I don't know who else goes on his stream, but like, it's hard to get a Drake to jump on your stream when you've got 10 live viewers. So some of that happens once you're already big versus how you got big. The biggest thing with live, I think, is, are you giving people a reason to be there and hanging out with you? So people come to live for community, live community. So it's being really, really aware that people are chatting on the side and making sure that you're involving in that chat, and looping people in and making them feel like they're part of a family or sitting in the room with you. I think gamers don't always do this well, but maybe the kind of the just chatting streamers are a little bit better at like making people feel like they are in the room with someone else, and sometimes that's enough to grow there.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Quick question. Have you considered working with YouTube animators or artists such as myself who are making their own series known as, I'm making my own series known as the Alphabet Boys, and I'd like to know if you would like to work with YouTube animators or artists.
Definitely.
Or if you have any advice for it as well.
Yeah, so I think whether the format is vlogging or animation or playing video games or doing makeup tutorials, I think what you're trying to achieve is creating a story or creating a world that people want to spend time in. I think animation plays perfectly to that. There are, I'm trying to think of animators that I've worked with. I think Tommy's done a ton of animation kind of in his early days. So there's definitely a space. Dan TDM is a big Minecraft creator that I work with who's starting to do more animation just because it's something he's passionate about. So there's definitely space for animators to grow. And I'm here to help out if there's anything I can do. I'd love to be and see your work and help with that for sure. Yeah, we'll find other animators. That's awesome though. That's great.
My question is, this one isn't sports related. What do you think is the best way to I guess like meet other people like you? Because like the games I play, I don't have any friends who really play the same games I play. So I don't want to sound like I struggle to find friends, but like why are you laughing? But no, what I'm trying to say is like, let's say I wanted to make a video on a different game. I guess I'd have to do it all by myself, but like I'm a very like social person, so like if I wanted to like find other people who like that, what's your best advice for that?
Yeah, I think this is actually really important. I find when I play Fortnite, Call of Duty, and I just play with my same friends over and over, and I've started to think about like, I mean, I love my squad, and I can't really imagine playing with other people, but like you're only just going to continue to get the same stuff out of that experience if you're just playing with the same group. I think when you look at a new game that drops and want to find other people playing that, maybe none of your friends are playing a game. try to turn to Reddit or turn to Twitter, or maybe just search that game on YouTube and see if other creators are making that, and then reach out to them, whether it's dropping something in their comments, tweeting at them. Just know 90% of the time you might hear no, or you might not hear back, and that's okay. This goes back to like me sending that Vine out. I never expected to hear anything back, but it ended up changing my life. So I would say feel confident in reaching out to people. There's something beautiful about people reaching out and saying, hey, like, I'm a streamer, I'm trying to play this game. Like, let me know if you want to roll duos or play in a squad together, something like that. I think people like to feel like other people are watching them and want to work with them. And ultimately, the people that are going to succeed are the ones who, frankly, have the confidence to reach out to others and say, hey, I love what you do. I do this on my side as well, and let's play together sometime or make a video or something like that. It's kind of generic, but I think sometimes there are no shortcuts for this stuff. And reaching out to people, I think, is something that will never go away, that will never not be relevant. One of my New Year's resolutions when I lived in New York was just network more. I didn't know what that meant, but it's ended up changing my life, because that year I ended up like meeting the agency that did the Premier League work. So like if I didn't just like somehow set this goal of like trying to meet more people, which sounds super nebulous and like indescribable, like a lot of this stuff wouldn't have come together. So there's no substitution for putting yourself out there, knowing it's okay that 90% of the time you might get blanked. That's totally fine. Those points don't matter. It's the ones that when they get back to you and you play together and then you're starting to grow because they've got an audience, you've got an audience, you both are growing together. That's where this stuff kind of unlocks.
Yeah, it's really solid advice. I think networking in general is just something that I also tell all my students about constantly, especially my VFX ones who are in here. I go to like networking events, and a lot of people are scared of those, but nearly everyone that I booked this week for Industry Week, I met at a networking event. And yeah, we had this content creation panel with like 3 amazing women in there, and I would have never met them unless I put myself out there. So yeah, I rate that.
Yeah, I think there's also something to like networking feels like a really adult thing. It feels like a very LinkedIn thing.
Business.
Yeah,
but it's
like
not, is it?
I don't think I did any networking when I was at university. Like I played on the football team, so like I knew my boys from that, and I had people that I was in classes together. But it like wasn't top of mind for me when I was in school. And I think you then kind of get out of school and realize that you're not constantly in a class with other people, and you're starting to look around and be like, damn, like I can spend all my time just knowing the same 4 friends, or like at some point somebody's got to light a fire on my ass to say, let's meet a couple more people. Let's try to find a couple different people to make videos with or to bounce ideas off of. And that's where this stuff starts to get magic. So
you're right as well. It's not business. The people around you could be your network right now. You know, you're all in the creative industries. It's what you want to do. People around you are hugely important. So finally, if there is one golden nugget of advice, one key thing you want these guys to go away with today, what would it be?
That is a great question. I've thought about this a little bit, and it's got nothing to do with content creation.
That's okay.
I think, so I was speaking to an apprentice, like a Google apprentice, basically like an intern earlier today. She's going to start helping out my team with kind of some ideas and that kind of stuff. The thing that I challenged her with, and it's the thing that I still try to challenge myself with, is come to the table with ideas. Be confident that you have a perspective to share. Again, I've kind of hinted at it, but there were big, boring meeting rooms that I was in at Major League Soccer where I was the intern, and there were like big execs who were done a ton of shit on TV. And I was really there to take notes and like not open my mouth. But every once in a while you see an opportunity to contribute your point of view or your perspective to something, and it blows the doors off of what you're trying to build. So my advice to you guys is over time, it comes with time, but over time, start to be more confident with your perspective and sharing your ideas. It could be with your peers. It could be with people that are far older or more experienced with you. But the fact of the matter is, in the creative industry, at least on YouTube, I can speak to that, people are trying to reach young audiences, whether that's brands or creators. And as you get more and more experienced in the world, you get further and further away from who you're trying to reach. And brands will have to rely on people who are younger and less experienced and have a different perspective from, where a chief marketing officer has been through. So that's a long way of saying, be confident that you guys have a seat at the table, that you've got ideas to bring to the table. Actually, the future of content creation, the future of creative industries relies on your ideas. And it's not good enough if we just wait 20 years to see them. You have to get more involved, and we're all kind of relying on those new ideas. So it's really difficult to do so, but I would say over time, be confident with your experiences, that you bring perspective to the table. I'm desperate for it. I rely on you guys for that. The platforms rely on you for that. So over time, feel more comfortable saying, my experience here matters, and here's what I've got to share with the world.
Thank you. That was such a good way to end.
Sounds very wholesome, but like genuinely, that shit's changed my life.
Yeah.
It will change your life at some point as well.
Put yourself out there.
Yeah, be confident that you got a perspective to share because we're all relying on it.
Chris, thank you so much. You've been amazing today. It's been so lovely to share your journey and like hear about what you've been up to, and you've been inspiring.
Thank you.
So can we thank Chris, everybody?
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. That's it, guys. You can head off. Thanks so much for coming, and thanks again.